You ever feel the kind of rage that doesn't shout, doesn't throw fists, doesn't even flinch, it just waits? That was me. Sitting in a leather chair, lights off, ocean crashing in the background like a warning. The air smelled of sea salt, betrayal, and expensive candles I didn't light. I knew they were pulling up. Her laugh, so fake now it made my stomach turn, bounced through the open windows. And I wasn't alone. Across the room, wearing a black dress and fire in her eyes, was Vanessa, his wife. Her foot tapped softly, the way a metronome marks time. Calm, controlled, dangerous. We had rehearsed every move of this night like a stage play. Only they didn't know they were walking into the final act. I heard the keys jiggle. My wife's voice chirped, "Don't worry, babe. He never uses this house in the off-season. I paid for that house. The marble countertops. The king-sized bed with the hand-carved headboard. The damn infinity pool she bragged about on Instagram. I bought it for her birthday. And now she was using it as a love nest." I heard their footsteps in her. Laughing. Drunk off something, maybe champagne or each other's lies. Then silence. The lights flicked on. I stood up. So did Vanessa. My wife froze, her stilettos clicking back an inch. Chad, stood behind her, confusion turning into a ghost-white stare as he saw his wife step forward too. "What the F?" he muttered, backing into the door. "Hi, sweetheart," I said to my wife. "Nice dress. Shame you wore it for someone with no spine." Her mouth opened, then shut. She always had something to say. Always had a snarky remark locked and loaded. But right then, silence. She looked like she was trying to calculate the damage in real time. Her eyes darted to my phone. She knew I recorded things. Knew I always kept receipts. Vanessa stepped forward, her voice like velvet over broken glass. "Chad, you remember our wedding vows? Faithful in mind and body. You broke both, didn't you?" Chad tried to speak, but all that came out was a dry cough. I watched my wife, Jessica, roll her eyes. Roll her damn eyes. "Oh, stop being dramatic," she scoffed, crossing her arms. "You act like you're some innocent angel. Maybe if you'd been a man for once in your life, I wouldn't have needed a real one." My fist clenched. But I didn't move. I wasn't going to give her that satisfaction. The truth was, I'd seen this coming. The late-night yoga sessions. The sudden need for privacy. The new lingerie I never saw her wear. And the biggest giveaway? She stopped lying convincingly. That's when I started digging. I had cameras in the beach house installed months ago, she forgot. I had every moment saved. Every whisper. Every moan. Every insult she muttered about me after her fake little giggles. "You done, Jess?" I said coldly. "Because this isn't a confrontation. This is a presentation. I've already emailed everything to our lawyers. Yours and mine. Oh, and to Chad's job. HR will love it." Her face twisted. "You wouldn't." Vanessa cut in. "He already did. And I sent a few files of my own to your Pilates studio. Did you know their social media rep is my cousin?" Chad swore under his breath. Jessica finally broke out of her shock and charged forward. "You pathetic coward. You went behind my back. You spied on me? That's how low you've sunk." I tilted my head. I didn't spy. I just finally stopped being blind. Vanessa walked over to Chad, leaned in close to his ear, and whispered something I couldn't hear, but whatever it was made his face collapse like a dying star. I watched it all, and for once, felt nothing. No panic. No begging for love. No man on the floor moment. Just quiet. Because I was already gone from her the moment I saw the first video. And this was only Act 1. She stood there, arms crossed, like she still had control of the room. Like I was the one who had to explain myself. That was the most twisted part. Jessica always believed she was the smartest person in every room she walked into. Even now, cornered, caught, she smirked like this was some minor setback she could smooth-talk her way out of. "Let's not make this more dramatic than it has to be," she said, taking a step closer, her voice lowering like I was a child she needed to calm. "We're all adults here. People make mistakes." I didn't flinch. Vanessa let out a sharp laugh behind me. Chad looked like he wanted to disappear through the wall. And still, Jessica pushed. "Babe," she said, switching into that sickeningly sweet tone she used when she wanted something. "You and I haven't been good for a long time. Let's not pretend like I just woke up one day and started looking elsewhere. You checked out first." I blinked slowly. "Checked out?" "Yes," she snapped now, the mask slipping. "You got boring. You talk about bills and routines and real estate. You're like a walking Excel sheet. There's no fire, no danger, no excitement." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She was cheating. In my house. With this guy. And somehow I was the problem because I didn't entertain her like a circus clown? Vanessa stepped forward again. Chad, are you hearing this? She's not just toxic, she's delusional. You threw away your marriage for this. I didn't throw it away, Chad muttered. I still on the floor. I didn't think it'd go this far. Jessica spun on him. Oh, grow a pair. You loved every second of it. Don't start pretending now that you're some innocent puppy who got dragged into something. I watched as their alliance crumbled in real time. The smug glances, the shared jokes, the stolen touches, all of it turned to ash in their mouths. I didn't need to yell. The silence and their unraveling lies were louder than any scream I could have mustered. I want you out, I said. Both of you. Now. Jessica's lip curled. You don't get to kick me out of my own life. It's my name on the deed, I replied, calm as ice. And you'll be hearing from my lawyer about everything else that's in it. Furniture, assets, bank records. Hope Chad's got deep pockets. Vanessa walked over to the side table and picked up a small folder. Here, she said, handing it to me. Everything we talked about. Screenshots, logs, timestamps. Just in case they try to say any of it was taken out of context. Jessica's eyes darted to the folder like it was a loaded gun. You're insane, she hissed. No, I said, stepping closer, finally letting my voice cut through the air. I just stopped being your fool. Her mouth opened like she had a rebuttal, but nothing came out. For once, she had no weapon left to swing. Vanessa grabbed her purse. I'll walk out first. Let them follow like the cowards they are. She did. I stood still, holding the folder, watching as Chad mumbled some pathetic apology and trailed after her. Jessica stared at me for one long, hollow second, like she wanted to say something clever, something brutal, but she had nothing left to take. So she left. The door closed. And I stood there, in that house by the sea, listening to the tide roll in. I was alone. But for the first time in months, it felt like freedom. I didn't move for a long time after they were gone. Just stood there, staring at the spot where she'd stood, like the air itself still reeked of her perfume and her lies. The kind of silence that follows an explosion, heavy, ringing, almost sacred, wrapped itself around me. It wasn't peace. Not yet. But it was the first step. I walked into the kitchen. The bottle of wine she brought was sitting on the counter, unopened, like a cruel joke. 2 glasses already set out. She probably thought she'd have her little seaside getaway, her romantic lies, and sneak back home pretending to be tired from time with friends. She always underestimated me. Thought she could lie her way through anything. Thought I'd never do what I did tonight. I grabbed the glasses and threw them into the trash. The sound of shattering glass? Felt good. My phone buzzed on the counter. I ignored it. Then it buzzed again. And again. I finally looked. 10 missed calls. All from her. Jessica. Then came the texts. You didn't have to humiliate me like that. You're acting like a child. You'll regret this when you calm down. We can talk. Please just answer. Talk? Where was that offer when she was lying to my face for weeks? Where was that tone when she was calling me boring and chasing after Chad behind my back? I didn't reply. I walked upstairs, into the bedroom I used to call ours. The bed was still made. Pillows fluffed. But the second I sat down, I saw it, her bracelet. The one I gave her for our anniversary. Still lying on the nightstand. Cheap irony. I stared at it for a moment. Then I opened the drawer, tossed it in, and shut it with finality. You'd think I'd cry. That I'd scream or punch a wall. But I didn't. I just breathed. Deep, even breaths. The kind that feel like you're relearning how to exist. My thoughts drifted back to the first time I saw the signs. It was subtle. A shift in her eyes when I asked how her day was. The way her phone never left her hand. Late night she explained with vague words. Just stress, just clients, just girls' night. I wanted to believe her. God, I tried to believe her. I convinced myself that if I just worked harder, gave more, she'd come back to me. But the truth? She was already gone. I remembered one night, maybe a month before all this, when I caught her smiling at her phone. That soft, secret kind of smile. She claimed it was a meme. I knew it wasn't. I remember going to bed that night beside her, knowing deep down that she wasn't really there anymore. Her body was, sure. But her heart? Her attention? Her loyalty? Given away like something disposable. And still, I stayed. I hoped. I made excuses. I told myself every couple goes through rough patches. But rough patches don't include bringing your lover into your husband's house. I got up, went to the window, and stared out at the ocean. The waves kept crashing, unconcerned with human betrayal. Nature didn't care. It just kept moving forward. I envied it. My phone buzzed again. This time, it was a voicemail. I hesitated, then played it. Her voice came through, shaky but still clinging to that fake confidence she always wore like armor. Listen, I know you're mad. I get it. But come on. You and I both know our marriage wasn't perfect. I didn't plan for this. It just happened. Don't throw everything away over one mistake. We can fix this. You still love me. I know you do. There it was. The arrogance. The assumption that I'd always be there. That I'd forgive like I always did. That I couldn't possibly be strong enough to walk away from her. She still thought she owned me. I deleted the voicemail without a second thought. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel broken. I felt awake. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't even try. I just lay there, listening to the steady rhythm of the waves and letting the numbness settle into my bones. Somewhere between midnight and dawn, the pain stopped burning and started to freeze. And in that cold silence, I made decisions. The first was simple. I was done. Not in a dramatic, throw my life away kind of way. Not in a scream-at-the-sky moment. Just done. The way you feel when you finally close a book you should have stopped reading months ago. The second decision was harder. I wasn't just going to walk away. I was going to make sure she remembered why I did. By morning, I had a plan. I showered, shaved, got dressed like it was a normal day. But something was different in the mirror. My face looked older, maybe harder. Like whatever softness had once been there had packed its bags and left the moment she walked through that door with another man. By the time I got back into the city, I had already spoken to the lawyer. Papers were drawn up. Divorce in motion. All assets under protection. Joint accounts frozen. I moved fast, while she still thought she could manipulate the outcome. At noon, I arrived at our apartment. She wasn't there. But everything about the place reeked of her. Designer shoes tossed at the doorway like she owned the earth. A glass of half-drunk wine on the coffee table. A candle burning for ambience, like it could mask the stench of what she'd done. I walked straight to the closet and began pulling her things. Dress by dress. Shoe by shoe. The same closet I once built custom shelves in for her, now just another stage she used to perform a lie. I packed everything into boxes. Neatly. Efficiently. By the time she returned, her arms full of grocery bags, her mouth dropped. What the hell are you doing? I didn't even turn around. Packing. You've got until sunset to come get your things. You can't be serious, she said, slamming the bags down. You don't get to just erase me like this. We built this life together. I looked at her now. Really looked. Tan skin. Designer sunglasses still perched on her head. A $900 handbag slung over her shoulder. All paid for by the man she spat on behind his back. You built lies, I said. I just paid for the bricks. She crossed her arms, her go-to move when she felt cornered. You're being cruel. No, I said. Cruel would have been letting this rot even longer. You want cruel? You brought another man to our beach house. The place where you made promises to me. You walked in there laughing, ready to play house with a stranger, while I sat inside watching your fairy tale burn. That was your kind of cruel. She stepped forward, voice rising. You think you're some hero now? Like you've handled this so maturely? You embarrassed me in front of Chad. In front of his wife. What kind of man does that? One that's finally awake. She blinked at that. Like for the first time, she saw I wasn't bluffing. That the man she used to walk all over had vanished somewhere in the wreckage of her betrayal. I turned back to the boxes. I'll send the rest to your sister's place. I've already changed the locks. You can't do that. I already did. She stood there, shaking her head, lips twitching like she was about to cry. But I knew that face too well. It wasn't sadness. It was anger that her manipulation didn't work. That her crocodile tears weren't breaking me down like they used to. She picked up a box and stormed out without another word. I didn't stop her. Didn't follow. Didn't say goodbye. The door closed behind her with the kind of quiet that doesn't need a slam. It was the sound of something finishing. And it was beautiful. I sat down on the edge of the bed, our once shared bed, and exhaled. Not broken. Not even sad. Just free. The days that followed were strange. Not quiet exactly, just hollow. There was no one to argue about where the car keys were, no scent of her perfume drifting through the hallway, no fake laughs over dinner. It was like walking through the ruins of a city you once built with your own hands, every piece familiar, every echo painful. But here's the twist. I didn't miss her. I missed who I thought she was. I missed the version of her that held my hand on stormy nights, who whispered dreams into my ear when we couldn't sleep, who smiled like I was the only man on earth. But that version never really existed. Did it? It was just a mask. A projection. A bait to hook the version of me she wanted, until I stopped being shiny enough for her games. I threw myself into everything she used to distract me from work, friends, the gym. I reconnected with my brother, who she'd slowly pushed out of my life because he was too negative. I realized how much of myself I'd given up to keep her satisfied, to keep the illusion alive. And then came the message. One night, around 2 a.m., she texted me a photo. Her in some rooftop bar, dressed to kill, surrounded by fake smiles and soulless people. Caption: "You'll always regret losing this." I didn't reply. Instead, I sent the photo to Vanessa with a single line. "Still think Chad upgraded?" Vanessa replied within minutes. "He's sleeping in his car. I kept the house." I smiled for the first time that day. It wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about watching karma play its hand without me needing to lift a finger. Jessica and Chad were imploding in real time. Two liars trying to build something out of broken trust and stolen moments. It was laughable. Weeks went by. One afternoon, I was at a cafe near the office, reviewing contracts. I looked up, and there she was. Jessica, standing at the counter, ordering coffee, looking almost normal. Not like the Instagram goddess she pretended to be. No filters. Just a tired face, eyes darting around like she was searching for purpose. She didn't see me, but I watched. Watched her glance down at her phone and sigh. Watched her fake a laugh with the barista. Watched her walk out alone. And for the first time, I felt something close to peace. Not because she was miserable, but because I wasn't. She'd lost control of the narrative, and I didn't need to say a word to win. Later that night, I walked into my empty apartment, took off my shoes, and sat by the window. The city hummed outside, alive, indifferent, beautiful. And I realized something. Heartbreak didn't destroy me. It revealed me. It peeled away the lies, the dead weight, the illusions. It stripped my soul bare and forced me to rebuild. Brick by honest brick. No more pretending. No more playing the husband to a woman who saw me as a placeholder. I was alone, but I was finally whole. And that was something she'd never be able to fake. 2 months later, the divorce was finalized. Clean, surgical, with every document signed, sealed, and emotionless. I sat across from her in the conference room, watching her scribble her signature on the last page. She didn't look at me. I didn't offer a single glance. She wore a sharp black blazer like she was walking into a power meeting, but there was a shake in her hand when she passed the pen back. When the lawyers excused us for a few minutes to finalize the filing, she finally broke the silence. "So that's it, huh?" she said softly, her eyes still on the table. "After everything?" I stayed still. "Everything burned the night you walked into that beach house with him. You just didn't feel the heat yet." She laughed, a dry, humorless sound. "You think you're so righteous now, so above it all. But you're not. You loved me once." "I did," I said. "And then I found out you were loving someone else, under my roof, in my bed, on my time." She turned toward me slowly. "You're never going to find someone who knew you like I did." That made me smile, just a little. "No," I replied. "I'll find someone who respects me. I don't need to be known like that again." She looked away. That stung. I knew it did. I stood and gathered my papers. The lawyer came back in. We shook hands. Jessica remained seated, staring at the surface of the table like there was something hidden in the wood grain. As I left the building, it felt like stepping into sunlight after too long in a dark room. That evening, I opened a bottle of bourbon I'd been saving for no reason. Sat on the balcony. No celebration. No sadness. Just clarity. The phone buzzed again. A message from Vanessa. Just saw him at a bar. Alone. Telling the bartender he made the biggest mistake of his life. Should I buy him a pity drink or throw it in his lap? I texted back. Lap. Then block his number again. She replied with a laughing emoji and a photo of her glass raised. That moment made me realize something deeper. It wasn't just about ending a marriage. It was about killing the version of myself that tolerated being disposable. I was done explaining my worth to people committed to misunderstanding it. I stopped giving access to anyone who didn't earn it. People say pain changes you. That's not quite right. Pain reveals who you really are beneath the politeness, the excuses, the fears. I used to be the kind of man who thought loyalty meant forgiveness, even when it was abused. I thought if I worked hard enough, loved deeply enough, gave freely enough, it would eventually be returned. But love isn't a vending machine. You don't insert years and get back honesty. I wasn't bitter anymore. I was aware. And awareness is a dangerous thing, especially for the ones who depended on your blindness to get away with everything. The next day, I changed my number. No warning. No goodbye message. I deleted old photos, wiped shared playlists, canceled the streaming accounts we split, and replaced every reminder of her with silence. And the silence? It was glorious. A week later, I took the last step. I went back to the beach house. It was strange, pulling into the driveway knowing no one else had the keys anymore. No one else would ever walk in uninvited, laughing, holding hands with someone they lied about. The place was mine again. Not just on paper, really mine. I stepped inside, and the memories hit hard. The hallway where I once carried her in after she said it was her dream house. The kitchen where we danced barefoot one New Year's Eve. The balcony where she once promised forever with wine-stained lips. All those memories were dead now. But the structure remained. So I lit a fire in the living room. Not for warmth, just to watch something burn and know I controlled it. I sat there, watching the flames dance, letting the past cremate itself in my mind. She had tried to reach out once more before I blocked her completely. A long message. Rambling. Self-pitying. Blaming stress. Blaming me. Blaming growing apart. Never once saying she was sorry. And that told me everything I needed to know. She wasn't sorry for what she did, only sorry she got caught. And people like that? They don't deserve explanations. They deserve distance. A month after that, I started sleeping better, eating better, working out again, not to fix something, but because I finally had energy. My chest felt lighter. My mind didn't feel like it was constantly defending itself. I ran into an old friend at a restaurant. His name was Marcus. He hadn't seen me since the whole thing unraveled. He clapped me on the back and said, "Man, you look clear." That was the word, clear. Because when you live in a house full of lies long enough, even the air gets thick. And now, I could finally breathe. A few days later, I was walking through the park when I saw something that stopped me. A couple, laughing, not faking it, not posing for Instagram, just sitting on a bench, eating ice cream and talking like they were the only two people on earth. No filters, no angles, no rehearsed lines. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel bitterness. I felt possibility, because I knew what I wouldn't tolerate again. I knew what love wasn't. I knew what it cost to ignore the signs and what it looked like when someone weaponized your kindness. So if I ever let someone in again, it won't be because I need to fill a space. It'll be because I finally know what kind of person deserves to be there. Not someone who uses your loyalty like a leash. Not someone who smiles while building their exit. But someone who sees peace as something to protect, not something to betray. That's what betrayal teaches you if you let it. Not how to hurt, but how to heal right. I stood at the edge of the beach that evening, barefoot in the sand, the wind slicing through my shirt, salt biting at my lips. The tide was rising, slow and steady, like time itself, dragging everything unspoken out to sea. I thought about who I used to be, the man who would have done anything to keep her, who excused red flags like they were growing pains, who mistook manipulation for mystery, who wore betrayal like armor, thinking it was love. And I thought about who I am now, not colder, not angrier, just wiser. The kind of man who no longer mistakes chaos for passion. The kind who can sit in silence and not feel empty. The kind who doesn't flinch when he's alone, because he finally knows he's whole. As I turned to leave the shore, my phone buzzed one last time. A name I didn't recognize. But the message was familiar. I heard what happened between you and Jessica. I just wanted to say you didn't deserve that. Some women are just selfish. Hope you're doing okay. I smiled, faintly. It's always like that. The echoes come back long after the screaming stops. But I didn't need comfort anymore. I didn't need explanations or apologies or validation. I had everything I needed. I walked back up the beach path alone, the wind at my back. No plans, no agenda, just peace. The kind that comes when the war is over and you've already buried the wreckage. If I ever loved again, it would be without illusion. Without sacrifice for someone unworthy. Without playing the savior in someone else's mess. Because love isn't about fixing broken people. It's about building something solid with someone who'd never set it on fire. So if you're reading this, maybe standing where I stood, wondering how everything fell apart. Here's my advice. Stop chasing the one who left you burning. Start becoming the one who rises from the ash. Because sometimes the end of us is the beginning of you. And that's the best revenge of all.